welcome back to Ireland AM. This is your final warning to get the little ones out of the room for our next chat.
Yes, because many couples might be looking for a way to spice up their relationship and bring back that spark. And our next guest did just that by diving into the world of swinging.
Yes, join us now are non-monogamous educators, Jem and Daz. Good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having us.
We're so excited to chat to you because this is an area that is fascinating and more people are probably interested in it than we realise. For you guys, when you got together, how did the conversation kind of evolve in terms of that you will be interested in swinging as a couple?
I'll let you answer that.
So when Jemma and I got together, we met through a well-known dating app and we were both looking for something casual. We weren't intending to get into a serious relationship. But the spark was there, the feelings for each other were there, and we decided that actually we would be a bit more serious. But I had floated the idea that long-term, possibly non-monogamy was an option for us. And Jem had said that she might be interested in that idea. But we lived out a normal monogamous relationship for 5 years before we brought the subject up again.
And it was Jem that brought it up the second time. So
It was.
what was your reaction, or what was Daz's reaction, Jem, when you brought it up that time 5 years down the line?
It was a bit of a shock. I think he sort of thought, oh my goodness, yeah, I did suggest that, and had probably sort of forgotten about it. But, you know, with relationships, they do get a little bit stale sometimes. We were still very much in love, but I just thought, might be fun, let's give it a go. So you took some time to kind of get used to the idea. But we talked about it, didn't we? And then we ended up getting on one of the websites and chatting to a few people before we actually went and did anything.
Yeah, I think every guy, once that subject comes up in a relationship, especially when you've been together that long, you instantly feel like there is a problem in our relationship and it's something that I should fix. But actually, as we'd spoken about it earlier, Jem said, hey, this is something we'd already discussed. We knew we would get to this point in a relationship where potentially we had decided that we want to open things up. So I had to just approach it with a maturity and take it slowly.
And though you were going slowly, what do you do? Like, are you putting an ad in the paper? Like, how does it work if you're interested in this?
So this site we were on, there was a party that was going on. It was like this amazing mansion house. So I actually bought a ticket for both of us. I hadn't told him, and I actually gave it to Daz as a Christmas present.
Wow.
That was a shock.
So that was another shock.
People writing down their Christmas lists frantically right now.
It wasn't what every guy wants to get as a Christmas present, but it actually was life-changing for our relationship.
Yeah. So we went along and we were absolutely petrified. But we just had the most amazing time. We talked about our boundaries before we went, which is something really important. You know, every couple should do that. And we kind of said, look, let's just go along and enjoy the atmosphere. And we said, the only thing we're going to do is maybe kiss another couple, but let's leave it there. So we went along and we did actually do that. But what we found was the after bit, it reignited this spark between us, and we literally couldn't keep our hands off each other for the next 2 weeks.
Is it seeing Daz with another woman that you found was the turn on for you?
Yeah, for me, and this is similar for a lot of women, it's a real turn on. I really enjoy seeing him with another woman. It's pleasurable.
It's a jealousy play.
Yeah.
Of, you know, it ignites jealousy in Jem, but in a way that makes her essentially desire me more.
Yeah, and it's also a safe way to do it as well.
Because she's still going home with you.
And that is the best bit. It's always that after bit where we come back together and reconnect. Although we never play separately, we're always together.
Is that one of your boundaries? So if you are with another couple, you're in the same room?
Yeah.
Yes, always. Other people do it differently. There are other people that go off and do things separately, but we are always together.
And so what do you go looking for? Now, I have to admit, I have seen you in action before with another couple, OK? I saw them in the 3 Arena at the 2 Johnnies. They were on one bed, the 2 Johnnies were in another. It was magical, right?
Oh, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But apart from that...
Four in bed,
absolutely, yeah. The more the merrier. But apart from that, like, so do you look for other couples? Do you look for single women? Like, what do you look for normally?
Yeah, so our dynamic is other couples mostly, isn't it? Or another woman.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we were going to look for another woman to introduce to the relationship or the bedroom, it would fall more into a kind of polyamorous arrangement where we'd be more interested in kind of dating and getting to know them and involving them more in our kind of day-to-day relationship. As opposed to if we were going to look to meet another couple, that falls more into kind of traditional swinging, which is swapping partners.
And a girl in that case with a married couple, what's she called?
A unicorn.
That is crazy.
I've heard that before. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Because they're so rare.
Yeah, they are rare.
Wow. And then what is the other terminology that people should get familiar with if they want to get into the swinging scene? What do you call it? Is there a hot husband, hot wife? Or...
Yes. Yeah, hot husband, hot wife. So the key parts of non-monogamy would be polyamory, which is to love more than one person. So that would be a more serious emotional relationship. An open relationship, which is essentially where you would have sexual relations with people who weren't your partner. And then what's called swinging, which is more kind of couple swapping by arrangement. With less emotional attachment, because obviously you're not looking to take a couple and have any kind of like serious emotional connection to them, because you're not going to leave your partner, essentially. They're the main ones. Hot wifing would be where the wife in a partnership would go off and be essentially in an open relationship and having relations with people outside the marriage, but the husband wouldn't.
Oh.
And
then
that
a hot
works for
husband
some
is
people.
I need to stop calling Carl a hot husband.
That's not our dynamic, though. We don't do that.
Okay. So for years, I feel polyamory and kind of like open relationships, they're not as prevalent maybe in heterosexual relationships. I know that they're a lot more common maybe in the LGBTQI world. But do you feel like the taboo or is being removed, or the narrative is changing in recent years?
I think we're definitely getting there, and that's why we're so vocal about what we do. We want to break down the taboo that surrounds like talking about sex. We want to get couples that communication back. You know, it's okay to talk about sex. It's okay to talk about what your fantasies are. So that's why we're doing what we do. And it's definitely getting there slowly, I think. People are feeling more comfortable talking about it, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And latest rough kind of polls show on the internet that around 10% of couples have expressed some interest in having an open relationship or exploring non-monogamy. So essentially we're speaking about our experiences, so those people who do want to explore it know how they should go about that. And part of the reason we're over here is we get a lot of Irish couples coming to us to ask for advice.
And singles.
And singles as well. Because people aren't talking about it openly over here, and people do need to get good advice because it can be a minefield. You know, it isn't something you want to take lightly.
And talking about it openly comes up because there's children here. You guys are family. I have 3 kids. If I even say skibbity toilet or bra, or if I even try and like get them on their level, they're cringing. You know, if I mention them on TV, they're like, don't talk about us. How do you broach this subject with your kids? How much do they know about you guys and what you do?
The kids know. Well, I say everything, not every detail, but we're very open. We're a very close-knit family. So we didn't go to them first and say, hey, we're swingers. Obviously, part of our job is we have an OnlyFans platform. So that was kind of the first thing we said. It started off with us just doing some modelling and photos. So it kind of led into it very slowly. And we wanted to make sure that they were OK with it. I think one thing to say about the whole OnlyFans thing is it does have a bit of a bad name, but it is just a platform. And we also use it not only for a peek behind the curtain of what we do, but also we use it to give advice. I'm a coach. I have been for 7 years. So I coach couples on there. We do together. And it is just a safe space for them to be open and talk about sex, their relationships, and help newbies that are trying to navigate the lifestyle. So with the kids, it was kind of that first. And then it kind of led into the swinging thing, and they're fine with it. They see how happy we are, and that's their own words. You know, we see how happy you are.
That's great.
If you guys are happy, we are too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the reason you're on OnlyFans is because a lot of the material that you discuss wouldn't actually be accepted on other platforms
Exactly.
either. So
Yeah,
you've kind of
absolutely.
been pushed to that website to do it.
Yeah, so people can ask us through the traditional social media platforms some of the questions they want to ask us, and they're totally reasonable questions about relationships, about sex, but they would be flagged and essentially get us banned. It seems strange that we're not able to talk openly about sex in society, yet things like extreme violence you'll see on social media day in, day out.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You've been over in Ireland a couple of times. What can you tell us about the scene over here? What don't me and Shiva know? What is happening behind
to introduce
the
you to some
curtains?
people.
It's very underground over here.
It is very hidden over here.
We get such a great reaction when we come over here. People seem genuinely interested and they want to talk to us about it. But I don't think there's enough kind of events and things that people can go to. It is very, very secret.
It's a very, like anyone from Ireland will say, it's such a small country and everyone knows everyone.
It's a village.
Nothing would stay
Yes.
secret. It's not like
Yeah.
you could just tell a few people. It would become kind of national news. And we get asked all the time, are there Irish couples who will speak openly about this? Because there are certainly Irish couples who are doing it. But at the moment there aren't, which is essentially why we come over and speak about it, to just show people, OK, here's an outlet, you can come and speak to us, which people do.
What is your advice to other couples interested in kind of exploring this in the relationship? And actually, one thing I think you say, Jemma, is that because you have such open lines of communication, because obviously jealousy can come into this and whatever, but it means that you communicate really well about other stuff that goes on in your relationship away from the bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's done for our relationship, Dad used to find it really difficult to talk about his emotions and just generally communicate. And in this lifestyle, you have to communicate. You know, jealousy does come up. So you've got to have that open dialogue always. And yeah, our communication with each other is just amazing now. You know, we don't argue, we talk about stuff if something arises. So we always say to newbie couples, you've got to have that strong relationship first, you know, talk about what you want to get out of it at the start.
And presumably both partners need to be as invested.
Yes, yeah. We get a lot of, how can I twist my partner's arm to get into it? You're like, oh no, you can't do that.
And that's part of the thing, to go into it, you have to have such a solid relationship to even be able to have those conversations, which most couples can't. And we hear that all the time, like, I don't know how to bring this up with my partner. And that's the first stage to get over, is get comfortable talking to your partner about some of these ideas. It doesn't mean you're committing to anything. It's just kind of saying, hey, have we ever considered this?
Yeah. I suppose sex is one of those kind of like pillars of the foundation of your relationship. And if that's a strong one, it's going to strengthen all the rest of them as well, you know?
Absolutely.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's my wedding anniversary.
I was going to say.
12 years today. Happy anniversary, honey. I'm on my way home.
We're going to hope she finds her unicorn. All right, Jem and Daz, thank you so much for joining us this morning. That was wonderful.
Brilliant.